Hey everybody, Double D here. Today I want to talk about the liberation of Undermined Raid as a whole and the mythic difficulty that comes along with it. Now I know there's been a ton of discussion around this exact topic, especially coming off the back of the Race to World First, but a lot of these discussions don't feel like they're addressing something that has been bugging me within the mythic difficulty. They're centered around pool counts for bosses or walls that your raid group may encounter, or specifically how difficult the last boss is and if it's too easy, but I'm not there yet. So I've only got my perspective to work with, and I think that's the average Mythic Raider's perspective too. At least numbers wise. We're not all Race to World First Raiders, right? So my guild, we are not a guild that's going to do splits. We don't have the capacity to stack 5 boomkins for one fight, and none of us are wearing fucking jerseys, okay? And with where we're at currently in the raid and actively progging, there has been one consistent frustration that keeps popping up for me. It was present in Erebar Palace, but man, right now it's actively kind of pissing me off within Liberation of Undermine. And that is mechanics that feel difficult because they are randomly frustrating. We just got done beating Rick Reverb, Mr. Richard Reverberations. What is an unfair mechanic? It's when these little ads spawn anywhere in the room, seemingly, and it can be clustered up, spread out. It's not dependent on anything other than where the boss is placed, kind of. If you have him towards a wall, sometimes it feels a little bit better, but more often than not, you get a bad spawn and it feels like you're just fucked. You know, if someone screws up and, say on Vexy drops an oil puddle way out of the way or super far off, oh well, hey, just clean it up next time, do it again. But what if in Vexy, instead of the oil puddles going on to specific players, they randomly drop across the room? Okay, well, that would certainly mess up where you need to bait motorcycles, but say the motorcycles don't all spawn together and they all spawn randomly around the room. And so now, instead of the motorcycles being clumped up in one little cluster that you can AoE that's close to everything else, all the other mechanics that you've already baited, now you have to run around the entire arena and deal with those ads. Would that piss you off? It would make me angry. And Rick Reverb, man, like when we've downed the boss and got done with him, it wasn't a bunch of let's go nerd screams, it was sighs of relief. This is what we had to say at the end of it.
Oh, he's gonna get the DR close.
Thank fuck.
God.
Jesus, dude.
That fight's actual dog shit.
That fight is the definition of dog shit.
And that's what I'm, I guess, getting at is like when there are these boss mechanics that feel fucking obnoxious. Like we're currently going through Styx Bunk Junker. And dude, Mr. Bumbuster here, it has so many fight gimmicks that going into this fight, I thought, well, surely this will just be kind of a little bit of whimsy to it, right? You'll hop on some trash balls, roll around, bounce around with your friends, blow up some bombs, blow up some ads, blow up the boss. But instead, what happens is you're left in the situation where there is shit all over the room. There's ads all over the room, trash piles all over the room. You can't even see the damn things. Like, the visual clutter is so frustrating when you're trying to move mobs all around the arena and at the same time not roll over your friends, kill people, interrupt ads with your trash ball you gotta drive, get it into the boss, get it into a bomb, but then you've got these ads that get in the way, and if you hit them, your bomb's all gone. They move slow as fuck across the room. They're just combat crawling. Like, I get that they're crabs, but do they have to be cunts? Honestly, I don't even want to pull the motherfucker. And it's number 4. Because of course we're doing it in the same order as the Race to World First guys, we're just as good as them. Coming off of Rick Reverb, I thought surely they couldn't make a more annoying fight, and yet here we are. it's when it falls apart, it just feels like shit. It's like, oh, we had him against the wall. We already had some blown up trash piles just because he natively does that. So that was some zone denial, which ended up causing territorial bombshells to spawn all around the edge of the room in a line. But we've got to group them up. Melee need to be able to hit them too, so they're having to run around. We got to scoot the boss in so that people can roll in through the back and not stun everybody or hit territorial bombshells so that we hit the boss or the bombs that they need. We got to move away from all of those, and all of this shit together bakes into this absolute clusterfuck. And it sucks because I was feeling pretty positive going into this raid. I thought, oh, that looks pretty whimsical. It looks pretty fun. Maybe it will be cool to hop on that ball, and there won't be so many pass-fail mechanics that relate to it. And even if Race to World First players struggle on it for 120 pulls or whatever they end up doing, surely it'll be nerfed, or we'll have enough gear that we can kind of just ignore most of the shit that we didn't bring 6 Boomkins and 7 Shadow Priests for. What is happening? How do we come off of Mr. Ricardo Reverberato and go straight into this? Like, at least with Cauldron of Carnage, I know it's the new fight that's just the demo for the swirling animation, but it's pretty straightforward. You gotta kick together the toys, but that's really for mobile DPS who can't parse to deal with. But, you know, if you're doing that, maybe it stinks, but otherwise, it's fine. Like, the spread cleave in these past 2 fights just feels like it does not make sense from a fun standpoint. Like, I don't mind if spread out ads are present in a fight, but there is so much pass-fail attributed to them that is so obnoxious. Like in Rick Reverb, there's already enough for you to have to do. You have to bait these amplifier poles to go down, then 2 homies have to go kiss underneath it to break the shield, and then you regularly have to go drain these poles so that you don't blow up and take a bunch of raid damage. I don't mind those types of pass-fail mechanics, and I know things have to be difficult. It's Mythic Raid, it's meant to be difficult, and I like difficulty, but does it have to be anti-fun? And looking down the barrel at the rest of the raid, I fully expect to encounter things that are more difficult. Sprocketmonger Lockenstock, despite having as many mechanics as syllables in his name, am I going to get mad when people bait drills underneath us? Absolutely, that's going to piss me off, but at least I can be mad at them and not randomized drill spawns that just popped up in the middle of the room that's in the exact position for where we needed to get knocked back while we're getting conveyor belted across the entire room and there's beams and a bullet hell going on. Yeah, that's a little different. It just kind of stinks because I thought there'd be more whimsy to it. A little more magic, a little more fun first. And I'm not talking about it from a thematic standpoint or aesthetically. I like those elements. I even like how half the raid, early on especially, is outdoors and you can hop in your car and drift around and style on the rest of your guild while they rebuff and cry about spread cleave. That part's fun, but even that goes missing in the later half of the raid. You can't mount up and drift around, and there is so much trash inside of this damn place. There's a mob in there that drives around the outside on the roads of the raid, and if it hits you, it kills you instantaneously. Why can't that be us? Why couldn't we hop in our car and blast through all the trash in there and just drive up to the next boss? Why couldn't that be the experience? I get it if you need to hop off to kill a lieutenant so that you get a little dopamine hit of a BOE drop or get some rep, whatever. Here and there, that's fine. But why couldn't we be the rocket blasting through the zone, killing everything in our path just so that we can pull up to the next boss? Why is the better option to death run to the next boss and res at his arena and skip most of the raid's square footage? And then in the back half of the raid, you go into the casino and you think, surely it can't get any worse, but there's like 3 floors to walk through. You can't even mount up. And you gotta kill all this fucking trash that is in the way. Why? There was no other option? We couldn't do anything else. There couldn't be some giant mechanical goblin dice that we hop in and death roll through there, flattening everything in its way. Hell, part of the fun of Vexy, right when you enter the raid, is when she comes drifting out in that tank and turns whatever raiders are dumb enough to walk close into red mist. And I like progressing through the raid. I like the rewards and how fun it is to tackle a boss and progress stuff with your guildies. Don't get me wrong, all of those elements are still present and cool, but I know I'm harping on this stuff, but that's because I think this is the part that I would want addressed. I'm not worried about if the last boss only takes 100 pulls compared to 200 pulls. If I'm being totally honest, I'm looking forward to not having another Queen Anseret coming off of Nerebar Palace. And yeah, a lot of these bosses, you know, they might suck or I might be frustrated by the end of it, but at least it's not Silken Court. I'm looking forward to that. I like all of those elements, but these are the things that I want to bring up because I think it pertains the most to the average user experience when you're engaging with these fights. When it ends and all of your guildies go, ah, thank fuck that's over. I do still think more often than not that a lot of these bosses scratch that itch for something that feels like a fair, progression-oriented experience. But just these elements, these are the ones that I want to put a spotlight on so that we can get a little bit more inspection going on for when we get closer and closer to gimmicks within a fight. We should also get closer and closer to it feeling fun and a little more relaxed. So that's what I wanted to focus on. Now, I know looking down the raid, like Mugsy goon cages, that stuff is super frustrating because the best strategy comes down to hyper-specific positioning, teleports, grips, whatever specific classes that can be able to get in and out of them effectively. That type of shit needs to be looked at too, absolutely. And don't get me wrong, my group of idiots will still sometimes wipe to one-arm bandit fixate ads. You know, the slow-moving, walking guys that come towards you, all you have to do is take a few steps back, press S, don't let them touch you, and they won't wipe the raid? We couldn't even manage that half the time when we first got there. And I can't defend that. That's not a problem with one-armed bandit. That's not a problem with the fight. That's a problem with being an absolute goon. But as a goon, I can point that out, and that's fine. I'll show you a little one-armed bandit. I got a little lever action for you. Alright, that's all I wanted to talk about. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And to all the other Mythic Raiders out there that are going to be progressing, good luck. And I'm sure when we kill Gallywix, it'll have been plenty difficult for us.